Welcome to the program. I'm Mark Imperial. This segment's being brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where business owners, professionals, and entrepreneurs publish to grow their businesses and to leave a legacy. We're doing a series of business spotlights on remarkable people, places, and things from across the country and even in your town. Joining me on this segment is Gina Martell. She's an equine assisted life and relationship coach. Fascinating. Gina, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, Mark. It's such a pleasure to be here. I look in the background, I can see your dog. He's
That's
so
my little
cute.
Frenchie. He thinks he's a
It's
horse sometimes.
those are the cutest little dogs. I just love those
Right now, you
dogs.
can see he thinks he's a cat. He's like laying in the sun. Always
His little
perches
ears pick it
himself
up.
on there. Absolutely. Yeah, Gina, so tell us a little bit, just a little bit about your work and the types of folks that you help.
Okay, first of all, let me just say, I wake up every day and I never go to work because I truly love and am very passionate about what I do. So, I am an equine assisted life and relationship coach. That means I'm a life coach and a relationship coach, but I partner with my horses to help people heal, get more confidence, empower themselves, and move into the best version of who they want to be and help them to, accomplish some goals.
I've heard about the power of this. Can you tell us specifically what are the benefits and what's the connection with the horses that helps so much?
Okay, that's an excellent question. You use the word connection, and I will tell you, connection is everything when you are working with a horse. So let me just give you a little bit of my horse background. I have loved horses since the minute I was born, and I'm very passionate about them. And I became a life coach, and then kind of went in this direction of adding equine to my life coaching. And the way it works is the horses have their own special energy, right? And a horse is the most honest thing you will ever have in your life. More honest than a dog, more honest than any person you'll ever meet. They just will call you out on certain things. And, horses have their own community, they have herds. And they have their own body language and they interact with each other in certain ways. And so I have for years studied the herd mentality. I understand the horse communication. So when I bring a client into my practice, we'll do a little bit of standard life coaching so I can do a consultation, understand basically what's going on with the person. We'll do a little clearing out because a lot of people show up with a lot of garbage. I compare it basically to like a Samsonite warehouse of baggage, people carry around with them. And then we'll get to the point where I notice that they have dropped off a lot of that energy, that bad negative energy that they've been carrying around. That's when I'll take them out with the horses. The horse will choose the person. I put the person in the front yard. I've got 4 acres, and I've got 2 horses right now. They're both rescue horses, and one or the other horse will walk up to this person. They'll decide that they want to work with this person. And that time we'll go into the arena. I'll teach them a couple of techniques with the horse to actually, we call it sending, where the person is actually moving around a 1,200-pound animal, just like the mare in the herd would do to the other horses in the herd, right? So I'm teaching them to speak the language of the horse. And, there's things that the horse will call out, like I get them to talk to the horse and tell the horse certain things and spending time with the horse to build that connection. And so sometimes if somebody says something to one of my horses and they're not really sure about what they said, or maybe they're lying about it, my horse 9 times out of 10 will stop, turn his head the other direction, and not even move. And the person's like, "What just happened?" And I go, "Well, you just lied to him."
Wow.
You just lied to him, and he's showing me and he's showing you that you're not telling the whole truth. So that's where I get in and say, let's sit with this for a minute. Think about what you said. Are you being truly honest with yourself about what you just said? And after just a few minutes, sometimes a few seconds, it'll always come out, no, I'm really not. And so then we talk about that. And once they kind of clear that, it's amazing. My horse will start walking with them again. So it's magic. That's all I can tell you. It just works because it does.
Wow, they really keep them in check, if you will. This is what fascinates me. So, what comes first? Do you find that people are seeking out this kind of like equine assisted life coaching, or are you introducing it to folks that are just seeking for help? Like, what comes first? Do people know about this?
A lot of people do. A lot of people come to me and are very skeptical. They call it voodoo. they think they think that, I'm doing voodoo with the horses or something, but I'm not. It's just that I have a great relationship and connection with my horses. And I understand them. We we are partners. I call my horses my brothers with four legs. So they know what their job is. I mean, every horse wants a job. No matter what it is, they want a job. And so this is my two horses, Dodger and Blue. This is their job. So when someone comes seeking out coaching, they already know that I'm an equine assisted life and relationship coach. And they're like, well, how does that work? So I explained to them, kind of like I just explained to you. And, seeing is believing. So once they get in there and they see that, I mean, I've had clients that have been emotionally upset because my horse has stopped and turned to me and basically said they're not being honest.
Hmm.
They've been just really upset. They've gone home really upset about it, and then they've called me the next day and go, "Can I come back and do that again in the next session?" And I'm like, "Sure we can." And the results are sometimes the same, sometimes they're different, but it really depends on the energy of the person, the healing, how honest they're willing to be with themselves and how willing they are to truly do the hard work. I mean, I'm very clear up front. You will give me 100% or I cannot work with you. This is on you. I'm a guide and my horses are also a guide. And we're here to help you, to heal, to get over those limiting beliefs, to get over those obstacles, to make you help you become the person that you really want to become.
Tell us a little bit about the transformations. Like, can you give us a couple examples of like the outcomes for certain folks? An example of what somebody came in with, what challenges, a little bit about what they went through, and when did they realize that, hey, this is really on my path to healing? Can you give us some examples?
Yeah, actually, I have some of these chapters that I've written. I had a guy that was an opioid addict, right? And he had a fiance and a beautiful little boy, and it was basically on the line that if he didn't straighten out and get sober, that she was leaving. And so I, brought him to, he came to the farm and the first thing I had to do, addicts tend to be very selfish, right? It's all about them. They're very manipulating. So first thing I did after the talk and consultation with him is I took him out to the barn and I put him, Blue, actually my big horse, he chooses mostly males. He actually started working with him. But when I had this client begin working with Blue, I said, I want you to go into his stall and I want you to clean his stall, do something for somebody else, and then you're going to brush him. Blue wanted nothing to do with this guy. he chose him, but he was going to give him a really hard time. It took him about 40 minutes to get Blue to go, okay, I'm going to give you a shot. See, that's hard for an addict because they can manipulate anybody, but they cannot manipulate a horse.
Hmm.
So when we got past the grooming and everything, I said, okay, we're going into the arena. He was walking around Blue. And what I do is I do this little exercise where I have him stop. And then I'll tell him just to say something to Blue, like, what does he want to change most of his life? What is he most afraid of? Things like that. This one particular thing, I said, what's the most important thing to you? Your family or drugs? And the client stopped Blue and said, family. But Blue stopped, turned his head and said, nope, you're lying. So we talked about that and he said, yeah, I want it to be my family, but he's right. I'm not really ready to admit
Hmm.
it to my family yet. So he was amazed. So after we went through several sessions like this, now he's in a place where he really is so aware of consequences of his actions. you know, and he's really still trying to work it out with his fiance and his little daughter to be a better father. So the transformations I saw in him was he started reaching out and helping becoming a better father where he would, help more with the little boy. He was more attentive to his fiance. He was holding himself at a higher level, of ownership, the things that he had done. So that's a brief um, explanation, but if I can tell you one more really quick, I
Hmm.
had a 9-year-old little girl whose father was a horrible alcoholic, and she would go to his house, and he would get passed out drunk and not even feed her, would ignore her, was just passed out. And so, her mom brought her to me, and so, I said, "Well, I'm gonna put her with my other horse daughter." Well, she wasn't talking to anybody and she was going to therapy, but she was just doing the role play and therapy with the dolls and stuff, but nothing was really working. So brought her to work with my horse Dodger and putting her in the round pen with Dodger, she started talking to him. And then I said, tell him some jokes. I tried to make it light. So she would start kind of laughing and get comfortable with it. And before I knew it, probably about 30 minutes had gone by and she said, okay, I'm ready to talk about daddy now. So I got her to open up. Dodger actually got her to open up. We went inside the house. We talked about dad. And the empowerment part was I said, none of this is your fault. This is your dad's choices. And she was so clear about that. Yep. Yep. I think you're right. It's daddy's fault. And so from working with her, now she's taking art, she's taking music, she wants to learn French, and she wants to go live in France one day. And she's happy.
Wow. Those are really a couple of great examples of connection there. Totally different types of connections, but like
Mhm.
it sounds like another level of awareness and honesty with yourself and exposure to what's really the root of the problem. Is absolutely fascinating. Gina, before I ask you my last question, I'm curious, what brought you here to this line of work? What inspired you? How did you get started?
Well, like I said earlier, I've always been a huge passionate fan of horses. Okay, I did all the showing and barrel racing and stuff like that. But once we moved from Florida to Georgia, and I wanted to get back into my horses. But I was already a practicing just life coach, right? Life and relationship coach. So I was in the tack store one day buying some stuff for my horses, and the manager was having a rough day, and so I knew her, and I went over and gave her a little bit of advice, and she said, "Oh my God, that was so helpful." And I said, "Well, here's my card," and I gave her my card. She says, "Oh, you're a life coach," and I said, "Yeah, I'm doing that." She goes, "And you love horses. You need to become an equine assisted life coach." And I was like, does that exist? I said, yes. And so I spent probably about almost a year. I went to a wonderful course in Wisconsin, led by Pam Kalkemeyer. She's the creator of it. She's actually a therapist, but she's also a life coach. And what she taught me about the energy and everything of the horses was just amazing. Like I already knew it, but I didn't know it at this level. So I just was like, that's what I'm going to do. I got certified and I just started practicing it. And I adopted 2 rescue horses from the SPCA in Miami. I'm so grateful for them. And it's been a very wonderful path and journey. I'm also a spiritual coach, so I add a lot of the meditations and the spirituality and a lot of forgiving in my coaching, and it just works amazing. And all my business is referrals.
Terrific. Gina, I know you have a book. Tell us a little bit about your book and what can people discover in it.
Oh, I am so excited about this book. If I tell you I've written in my lifetime 5 books and never finished one of them. This one this one just got done. I mean, it's about, my equine coaching. So I teamed up with a colleague of mine. Her name is Deborah Johnson. She's in Wisconsin. And we just became great friends, and we're both very spiritual and very open, and we both have a whole different way of looking at horses and about how beneficial that connection is. So, we were just calling each other one day and she said, we should write a book. And so I said, yeah, let's do it. So we did. And we actually finished it. And it is about, a, it's about animal communication, how you know, in ancient times, we all had the ability to communicate with animals. It's just man has come along and scared us and told us that we were retarded and stupid, and crazy for doing that. But we're not. We still have those skills. So it's about that. It's about a different way of handling your horse and actually building a friendship and a connection, not looking at them like they're an ATV with four legs. Um, and then we work in some client chapters, like some of the stories I just told you, and how amazing the horse, my horses were, and helping those clients and healing them and convincing them that it's not voodoo. It really is something. It is magical, though. That's all I can say. And so Deborah and I are very excited about it. And we're being published by Remington Publications, which is a great publication. And so we're very excited about that. It's going to be in an ebook. And then eventually, a couple months after that, we're looking at print. And then I'm going to do an audiobook version of it. It makes sense since I do voiceover work.
Absolutely. Yeah, Gina, this has been terrific. How can folks listening now that connect with you, how do they find you, learn more, and connect with you and your work?
Oh, I'd be so honored for anyone else to reach out to me. So my website is coachginamartell.net. Okay. You can also find me on Facebook, Gina or Coach Gina Martell. I do have a YouTube channel, which I kind of stopped for a little while, but I'm going to start it up again. It is Gina Martell. And if you go to my website, there's a phone number. You can send me an email. I love my clients, and I'm so honored when they choose to work with me and they actually do finally believe that a horse can transform their life.
Gina, this has been terrific. Congratulations on completing one of your 5 books. I'm really excited for you. And I appreciate you taking the time out of your day and sharing with my audience today. I wish you continued success for you and for all of your clients.
Thank you so much. It has been a privilege, and congratulations to you too. I know you're doing some awesome stuff, and I'm just so pleased to see somebody really taking the initiative like this and working with smaller businesses and upcoming businesses. It's really important.
I appreciate that, and it's my pleasure. This segment's been brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where entrepreneurs, professionals go to publish and grow their businesses and to leave a legacy. You've been listening to Gina Martell. She's an equine assisted life and relationship coach and new author. So, congratulations. That's all for now. I'm Mark Imperial, and thanks for tuning in.